Welcome to the Austrian German tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to learn some important aspects of Austrian accents in just 9 steps. We start with simple sounds and progress up to the 9th step. For example, we begin with the easy sound a and combine it with some words we can build with it. The 10th step gonna be the tricky combination gsch. Before we dive into the video, I just wanted to ask you about your opinion. How do you recognize that someone speaks with an Austrian accent? Please let me know in the comments below. Here we go. The learning goal of this Austrian German tutorial is to get to know 9 important sounds that are very common when it comes to Austrian accents. This goes especially for the spoken form, and the written form is rather standard German. And before we start, I just have to mention that there are so many accents and dialects in Austria, and they may change from region to region or even valley to valley, so I just give you a general overview. The sounds may vary from region to region. First of all, let's start with the sound a. That's our first step. A means a in English, so it's the same in English and Austrian German. In Standard German, we use an. But let's take a look at some examples in Austrian German: a house, a smartphone, and so on. The second meaning of a is as well or to in English. In Standard German, we would say auch. A, for example, ia means me too. And there is a third meaning of a, which deals with surprise, or if you want to say never mind, it's like ah. Now let's turn to our second step. I. I means ich in Standard German and I in English. The spelling is the same in English and Austrian German, but the pronunciation is different. I. You also find it in words like sicher, sure, or bissl, a little bit. Now let's move on to our third step. E or e. E doesn't have a meaning, but it's important because it's used very often. E is used to stress something, to agree or disagree, or simply as a gap filler. E. Now let's go to our fourth step. Here we just add a G or a G. G. G means go in English. And you also find it in the word gehen, like let's go, vamos, or ghecho, it's alright, geh. Our fifth step, jo. Jo means yes in English and ja in Standard German. I'm sure you hear it very often when you're in Austria, jo. Now we combined some sounds we've already learned. For example, jo eia. Jo eia, meaning yes, me too. Our sixth step is the opposite, na, meaning no in English, and nein in Standard German, na. You find that sound in Banane, for instance, or a complicated phrase in Austrian German, no na nicht, which means yes, it's logical, isn't it? No na nicht. Now let's move on to our 7th step. Now it's getting more complicated. Or is used for many words, especially in the western parts of Austria. If you're new to Austrian German, it may be a bit complicated to pronounce it like Austrians. Or rather easygoing, or. If people from northern Germany use it, it often sounds like or, but it's rather ohr. You find it in words like kein, meaning none, zwei, two, or daheim, at home. This sound is also used in Bavaria. For example, daheim is daheim, there is no place like home. If you just say ohr, it means egg. For example, in the region around Vienna or the eastern parts of Austria, a is used instead of ohr, so along a, zwei, ka, daheim. Now let's go on to our 8th step, oe. Oe, we find this sound in oed, meaning old, coed, cold, or the famous Austrian word oeder. Oe, oeder. If you just use oe, it also can mean downwards, oe or ovi. And so we've already reached step number 9, and this is a complicated step with the 4 letters gsch, and it sounds like gsch. So it sounds a bit strange, I guess, but let's take a look at some examples. For example, Gschnas, which is a carnival party in Austria, Gschnas. Gescheit, meaning clever, gescheit. Gschert, gschert, which means a substandard kind of cloth, a gschertsgwandel. Gschertsgwandel could also be translated as underdressed. Summing up, we can repeat the 9 sounds one more time. A, I, E, G, Jo, Na, Ohr, Oe, Gj. All in all, I hope I could give you an insight into the relevant sounds of Austrian accents. If you want to know more about Austrian accents, please take a look at my YouTube podcast about Austrian accents and dialects. Thanks a lot for watching the Austrian German tutorial. See you in the next video. Have a nice day. Auf Wiederschauen, Servus und Baba.